I'm Siobhan Fallon Hogan, and welcome to Catholics with Cappuccino. And I'm so insanely thrilled to have my friend and superb actor and artist, Federico Castelluccio, with us today. Hi, Federico.
Siobhan, such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how much I was looking so forward to this.
Oh, me too. Actually, when I got the call, I said, I'm there. Siobhan wants me, I'm there.
You're so great. Well, we met. Well, of course, I was a huge fan of yours forever, from Sopranos. Then I saw you in Cabrini, and I've seen you in so many fabulous roles over the years. But then my son said he wanted to cast you in his movie Into the Black,
hmm
and when you said yes, everybody was over the moon, and I became the driver. I was like, They're like, who's picking him up? I said, I'm picking him up. And I went to your house, and it was a rainy day. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
And you said, Siobhan, come in. And I walked into your house and met your stunning wife, Yvonne,
Oh, thank you.
stunning. And I walked into a museum.
Basically, yes. It's a private and personal collection that I've been working on for over 30 years. I mainly focus on 17th century Italian Baroque masters.
Yes.
And it's what I studied when I was studying painting and at the School of Visual Arts in New York City.
You had a full scholarship there, right?
That's right. There's a full scholarship right out of high school, and I couldn't have been more excited because I was ready to take on a couple jobs in order to go to that school.
Yes.
Because
Your parents were immigrants.
that's right. Yeah, I'm an immigrant.
Yeah, you're an immigrant.
I came here in 1968 as a child, and I was like 3.5 years old.
And did do they speak Italian or do they speak English?
Well,
Of course they spoke Italian.
Very little English.
Yeah.
I spoke Italian in the home,
Yes.
and so my mother insisted that we speak Italian, retain our language. I'm the youngest of four.
And isn't everybody, as I recall you telling me, insanely accomplished in your family? Isn't your sister a doc? Tell me about your
Oh,
family.
my nephews. Yeah, I have two nephews that are physicians. One is a veterinarian, and the other one, I'm very, very proud of them. The other is a neurologist,
Unbelievable.
and he just had a little baby about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So, he's juggling, being a doctor on call, and
Yeah.
and his wife is a neurologist as well. Yeah,
Amazing.
so
So your parents come here. They
yeah.
bring you 4 kids. Was everybody born in Italy?
In Italy, yeah. I was the youngest, so we came here in 1968. It was a huge change.
Oh, wow.
Obviously not speaking the language.
Did
But
you go right to New Jersey or did you go to New York first?
no, New Jersey. No,
Right,
we landed in New York in JFK.
Right.
We were on
What number are you in the family?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So it's my sister, 2 brothers in between. My sister's name is Giuseppina, but we call her Ines. That's what my mother wanted to call her. So
And
uh,
you go to school and you realize that you're this fabulous artist. I mean,
well, no, when I was a child, even in Naples, as young as I was, I used to get really excited watching my sister or my brother draw because they could all draw. I mean, everybody could draw and paint.
did that come from your parents? Were they
Yeah,
great art?
yeah, yeah.
Really?
My father worked for a little while in Naples as an artist. He was working with this factory that did paintings of Vesuvio on these shells.
Right.
You could find them online. I looked for them. I was maybe kind of dreaming to find one that my father did, but he did. He was always very talented. Musically inclined. Played the accordion and the piano. My brother Marco was a musician for many years. Started all during the hair band days.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
mean, you're a Renaissance man. I mean, you walk into your house and I'm like, I thought I was picking up an actor. I thought I was gonna have this guy, like this Italian guy that's like everybody knows Sopranos are gonna be like have an attitude. Meanwhile, you're like, come on in. I see the Blessed Mother there.
oh
I
yeah.
see Christ. I'm like, what is going on?
Well, yeah. Well, during that period in the Renaissance and in the Baroque period, especially in Italy and Spain and Holland and those areas, there were so many churches being built
Sure.
around that time. Weren't enough churches for people, and so there were a lot of paintings in demand of the Madonna and Child, and paintings of Christ on the cross and things like that. So I collect those paintings based on the quality of painting. I'm looking at it coming from an artist's perspective, a painter's perspective. And so when I see those masterful brushstrokes and, you know, the lighting, I mean, they used, I mean, if you've heard of Caravaggio. I mean, there's directors today looking at Caravaggio's paintings,
Right.
because of the chiaroscuro, the light and dark that he used in his works.
And didn't your great eye, I mean, your education as an artist started early on, but then you went to the School of Visual Arts for a full
Yes.
ride. But then your education, didn't that come in? I mean, tell the story of the painting that you discovered.
Oh, wow.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
So when I was in school, you know, we had to do papers. So, you know, our second home besides the School of Visual Arts was like the Metropolitan Museum of Art or the Frick collection. So I had an assignment to pick a Baroque painter, and of course, you know, at the time you only know the big names.
Sure.
So I was going to do I went to the Met. I was going to do a paper on Rembrandt. So I walk in and I see this huge painting where the protagonist is not facing the audience,
Yeah.
not facing the viewer, and I said, this is really interesting. And there were a lot of people. I went to go to see who did this, and the name was Giovanni Francesco Barbieri, called Il Guercino, the Squinter, and he was from Bologna. I said, wow, I never saw this. This is powerful, and it was you know, Samson being taken from the Philistines. And you see a guy with a scissor, you know, ready to cut his hair. And it's just a powerful painting.
Right.
And I just forgot about Rembrandt. And I said, I'm going to do a paper on this guy.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I started finding out more and more about Guercino, and, as we call him. And also his studio assistants, his followers, all of the people around him. So my eye was accustomed to, you know, to seeing the master's work and and also his disciples, his followers. So when it came time to visit my my now wife's family in Germany, which was in 2010, she showed me around. She showed me her neighborhood. She showed me, you know, we went to different museums, the Stadel Museum, which is a beautiful museum, and on the way home that evening, I said, stop the car. She was driving me around. I said, stop the car. I want to see what's in that antique shop. It turned out it wasn't an antique shop, but a small auction house. So they were closed. They let us in, you know, and he said, take a look around. What are you interested in? And I said, I'm interested in paintings, in, you know, old master paintings. He said, okay, go upstairs, and there's some paintings up there. So on the first landing, there were paintings stacked up against each other.
Right.
I saw something interesting. It was like the top of the head and, you know, the clouds and things of this one painting. So I pulled it forward and I looked at it, and I said to Yvonne, I go, this is unbelievable. This is a Guercino. She said, what? I said, shh, quiet.
Oh my gosh.
The guy was on the,
Were you like
he was at the
you're like
bottom.
a guy at Las Vegas,
This
who's
is-
like jackpot.
Well, here's the thing. Somebody that would have seen that painting may not have known that it was by him, because what happens to a painting that's 400 years old is there's varnish on the painting,
Uh-huh.
which yellows. And what that does is that flattens the halftones of the painting. So it could look like a copy, it could look like something else. And then there was campaigns of overpaint on it, you know, because a lot of paintings, that I would say about 75 to 85% of the paintings in museums are all restored.
Oh, yes.
They all have restoration
Interesting.
because of the, you know, the time and the craquelure and, you know, things that happen over time. So I knew what I was looking at, because I'm a collector. I'm looking at it, you know, with the, you know, masterful brushstrokes that I see there. I said, this has got to be by the painter. It's just, you know. And so I went back about a month later, and the guy, the manager there did not expect me to come back. So he sees me there in the morning of the auction, and he's like, "Oh my God!"
Did he know you were an actor? Did he know you were from? Like, do they know Sopranos in Europe? I'm sure they do.
Yeah, in the beginning he didn't, but when I asked him to send me,
He's like,
when I
Furio's
asked
here
him-
again.
When I asked him to send me images of it so I could study it
Yeah.
further,
He asked for an autograph.
he saw my name, and he looked me up, and
right.
and so he sends me the pictures, and he goes, "Sorry, I didn't recognize you,
He
Mr.
hiked-
Soprano."
He hiked up the price.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, you know,
But there
I mean, it's an auction, so you have people bidding on it, you know.
Got it.
And you know, I was on the phone with there was 7 people bidding on it, and then they just kind of fell out, and it was me and somebody on the phone, And I could see this guy, the manager, saying, "Look, this," and he's looking at me. He's like, "This guy came all the way from the United States to buy this painting. So if you want to keep going," and he just he shut the phone. Place applauded.
And here you are with this.
Yeah.
And then you had the painting restored.
I had the painting restored beautifully. It's gone to 2 major exhibitions. One in Turin, Italy, based on the subject of Saint Sebastian.
Sure.
And because that's the saint that was in the picture, Saint Sebastian, with the arrows.
Yeah.
He was the patron saint of of soldiers.
Is that
and,
right?
Yeah. And so I got it back. I restored it. and went to Turin on a 6-month.
And you've kept it. You have not sold it. You just lend it
No,
out
no.
to museums.
Yeah, I lent it out to museums, and then it went to the Princeton University Art Museum.
I mean,
as
I
well.
can't tell you, when I walked into your house and there's floor to ceiling paintings, I mean, it must be hard for you to leave your house because it's so inspiring and beautiful. And,
Oh,
and
thank you.
it's just, you feel like you're in the Renaissance.
It's interesting because when I'm away, I think about my
I
paintings.
bet
I'm
you
like, I
do.
miss my paintings.
I bet you do. It's funny. My mother, I'm one of 5. My poor mother, you try with each kid, but I really
Yeah.
was kind of a moron. And but my mother was very educated. She really is true. It's so sad. But my sister Mary and I were the oldest, and we were just kind of like rough and tumble. But then my other sister's very educated into what my mother was trying to teach us. So you were so lucky that you came from Italy in New York, where everything's all the museums, as you're saying, and that you went to the Frick and doing papers. I mean, I'm from Syracuse. We had the Everson Museum, which is great. But so when we came to New York, I was newly married, so I was like 30. And my sister Mary was married, and my other sisters weren't at the time, and my brother. And my mother would say, "Let's go to the Frick." And she'd say, "I want to sit there," because she said my mother didn't get married till she was 34, which in those days was crazy, right? So she really developed her mind, developed her, all her passions. One was being a lover of art.
Mhm.
She would go and sit in the Frick and stare at Rembrandt's The Polish Rider. Is that right? Is it Rembrandt? The Polish Rider. Is that
Oh
Rembrandt?
yes, exactly.
Or is it
That's
Renoir?
No, it's Rembrandt.
Rembrandt.
Yep.
So we go to the Frick, and I am with my sister Mary and my sister Sheila, my sister Megan, my brother Billy, and my mother. And she said, "This is where I sat. This is where I would stare at the Polish Rider." She and my sister Sheila and Megan and my brother wandered around, stared at that Polish Rider for so long. And I'm not proud of this, but my sister Mary said to me, how are you and Peter doing?" I said, "Well, we're all right." And she said, "Me and Bud got no dough." It struck me so funny, the juxtaposition of these developed people looking we got laughing so hard that the security
guard came
guard,
over and said, "Hey."
security guard's like, what's wrong with those 2 idiots? But anyway, I have such a great appreciation for people like you that are better raising the bar for morons like me that need
come
to.
on.
No, but it's true. But Federico, I mean, in our field, I mean, you don't meet guys like you. I mean, it's like, how many fabulous painters like yourself? I mean, have you met
Thank
many?
you. Well, yeah. No, I mean, there are a lot of really talented people that There's a lot of actors that first of all, I feel that that the arts are all kind of related and correlated. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
yes.
You have a lot of singers who paint and painters who sing
Yes.
and act, and you have it's like if you look at it, there's a big correlation there.
Yeah.
And sort of a need to express
Yes.
a different form of art sometimes.
Exactly. I wanted to ask you about this. Now, I know you were fantastic in Cabrini. I loved it. Was a
Oh, thank
great
you.
performance. Really an unbelievable movie.
Yeah, it was a great film.
Then The Sopranos. There's a lot of Italian guys on there, and you're a Catholic. Did you find that there were a lot of Catholics in that cast because of being a lot of Italians, or
In Sopranos?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I think so, yeah. There were quite a few, obviously, coming from Italy, coming from, Catholic background. I'm sure that people that are a couple generations away,
Yeah.
they were practicing Catholics, but I'm not sure if the people that, we were working with are practicing Catholics. But for the most part, I think there were
right?
a lot of Catholics.
And do you feel like your upbringing as a Catholic and you being a Catholic that influences, I mean, your art, your work, clearly your artwork?
The imagery, yeah, sure. Some of the earliest imagery that I've seen, because my parents had prints, different prints of paintings when I was a child in Naples.
Yeah.
And so, they had Impressionist prints, they had Renaissance prints, some interesting paintings as well that they had. So it was, I was exposed to art very, very early on.
Yeah. It's
In
so
Naples.
funny, Federico, when we drove down to the set that day. So my son's doing this Into the Black, this independent film. You, Peter Green, Kathy
I
Moriarty.
had a lot of fun
Lisa-
on that film.
Really
Actually.
fun.
Yeah,
So you played like
Sonny.
a Sonny who's like going after this horse gambler who owes you money. But here you get out of this car. I'm like, I am not worthy. This guy is this Renaissance artist, and you can flip into Sonny, the mafiosa guy, shaking this guy down. Like you have this really amazing way of flipping from one character to the other, like yourself as this class act
Oh, thank you.
to a real thug almost, right?
Yeah, well, it's what we do, right?
So fun. It's so fun.
It's I started off just like you did
Yeah.
in theater. I was with two independent theater companies here in Manhattan, Eclectic Theater Company and Flock Theater Company. It was great. We did theater in the round. We did Shakespeare. I mean, I did a bunch of Shakespeare festivals as well. Felt that it was a necessary foundation for me to understand how to create a character, how to build a character.
Sure.
And that really helped me when I was, when I got my first agent doing Savage and Limbo.
And so, but you were an artist first. So
Oh, yeah.
how did you decide you wanted to be an actor?
Um, very interesting story. It was my last year at the School of Visual Arts, and there was a wonderful actor, a wonderful painter who was taking acting classes there at the Visual Arts. I was extremely focused because when I was going to high school, I thought that they might have a theater program there. At the time, they didn't. Now they do. But so when I got into college, it was always in the back of my mind, about theater.
Were you at a public school or were you at a Catholic school?
Went to Catholic grammar school, but the high school was public.
Didn't have. Isn't that sad? It's like, because maybe if you would, I mean, you obviously found out, but when these people don't, when these schools don't have these programs, how are kids supposed to know
Exactly.
what talent
Yeah.
they have? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so go ahead.
No. So being that my friend comes over to me, knew that that I liked doing impressions and things like that, and I was always talking about theater. He said, "Hey, man, I'm doing a monologue. It's for the the finale here. Whatever he was talking about." And he goes, "You want to come and watch me do my monologue?" And this guy's like the thickest Brooklyn accent you could possibly
Yeah.
imagine. Anthony Calder, I remember. Anthony, wherever you are. Thank you.
He was your influence.
He was my inspiration that day.
Inspiration, yes.
Yeah, and because I went there and he was doing Biff from A Death of a Salesman. So I'm looking at this guy, he does this Midwestern accent. I'm like, what is going on here? I mean, like, this guy just transformed right in front of me.
Transformed.
It was that moment that I said, this isn't an art form I need to explore. I really do.
This happened to me with my Aunt Sheila in Syracuse, New York. Every spring, the Pompeian Players, this priest would direct them, and they would put on these productions, No, Nanette, Pajama Gang, and I would look forward to it. And at Catholic University, when I went there for my master's in acting, I found out that you could have a cathartic experience where you actually forget yourself.
Yep.
The first time it ever truly happened to me was in the movie E.T. And when E.T., when they went up on the bikes, the kids, I stood up in the theater, I was like, yes! So, but that was the second time it happened to me. But the first time was with my aunt. And I would go to those shows, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I was so alive. I mean, I just loved it, watching my aunt transform. But it's
Wow.
so great to have that person that you're like, hey, when the light goes off in your head, to have a passion in life is the best, isn't it?
True.
And you have
That's
two
very
of them.
true. Well, yeah, it's interesting because when I told people in the beginning, because I had just graduated from visual arts with a BFA, and I was telling friends that I was getting into acting, they're like, all of a sudden they got threatened. They're like, no, you're not going to stop painting, are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm just going to add it to my life
Yes.
somehow.
And it's so great because as actors,
Yeah.
we're out of work a lot. So you
Yeah.
have that
Exactly.
when you're not working.
Exactly.
As my father would say, you need a backup. I didn't have I had no artistic. I would teach acting to kids in between, but that's such unbelievable. Let's talk about what you brought today.
Yeah, sure.
This is a new piece.
This is I literally just finished this.
It's
This
unbelievable.
it's a charcoal drawing. It's of a friend that I've known for 35 years. His name is Stuart Pivar. He's an erudite. He's a published author, a scientist, a collector. He's the founder, along with Andy Warhol, of the New York Academy of Art. And he was very close with Basquiat, and Andy Warhol did portraits of him that are in museums and stuff. So when I asked him to pose for me, he didn't realize I was going to do. I said, there's some beautiful light here, Stuart, in his studio.
Where is he in New York City?
He lives in New York City. He's 95. And,
amazing. His face
sharp,
is-
sharp as a tack.
How long would a drawing, pardon me,
drawing.
like that take to do? Like how long do you have to sit
That
for?
that took about 150 hours.
Wow. And how long does he sit for? The whole 150?
Well, here's the thing. This is photorealism. So when I paint, usually I'll set up a still life, I'll light it, and then go to town painting just from life. Like if you see this flowers here, I would light it and then just start drawing it with a brush and go to town painting it in color. This is different. This is photorealism. So I take my own photos right on the iPhone. Then I sort of switch it into black and white. I kind of play with the contrast, and then I just start drawing, and then that's why. I mean, this thing takes.
So Stuart can go home and you just bring the
Well,
photo with you?
Stuart was home when I. he's got
he's
this
home.
incredible lighting. He lives in an old. I mean, like the apartment that he lives in is unbelievable, and it used to be artist studios up on 67th Street somewhere, and the light is just incredible. So I said, just stand here, and I took some photos of him, and then I basically
Has he seen it?
he saw it, and he was completely blown away.
Oh, I
and
can't
he was.
imagine. He's unbelievable.
This is going to be part of an exhibition that I'm going to be doing in New York City on charcoals, photorealistic charcoals. Basically.
No, you have to introduce me to him sometime because
Oh, right, I will.
my father ran into a guy. My father was probably in his 40s, and he ran into a guy who he thought was older, who was 50. And before we were going on a little ski trip up to Lake Placid, we used to go up there, but all of us get in one room, put on our Thai ski boots, and this guy's name was Wilfred Hoffman. And my father had a great sense of humor, and so did this Wilfred Hoffman. Wilfred had 9 kids, we had 5 kids, and they really hit it off. We got up to the ski trip, from Syracuse, like 4 or 5 hours. And my father says, I'm going to call that Wilfred Hoffman. He's got 9 kids, see if they want to come up. They showed up. Well, his oldest daughter, Sue Hoffman, she was one of Andy Warhol's. He had the 3 girls always with him.
Right.
She changed her name to Viva. So they would definitely know each other.
Absolutely.
And Viva,
Absolutely.
and her daughter is Gabby Hoffman, the actress, who was in Field of Dreams.
Yeah, sure.
And she works all the time now.
Yeah.
So that was like old New York artists. That was like the art scene was really crackling then, right?
Yeah, it was.
So I love
It was.
amazing.
Yeah.
So
was.
now you're also very good friends with, and I know you just did a movie with Chaz Palminteri.
Yes.
And that was up in Rhode Island?
We shot in Warwick, Rhode Island, and it was based on a true story. It was called Bad News on the Doorstep. That was the title of the book. I think that's also the title of the film.
Is that a studio film or is that an independent?
It's an independent film, but the Verdi Group, Chad Verdi, the main producer, has worked on like 5 or 6 films with Martin Scorsese.
Amazing.
And so Scorsese is taking a look at this film and probably giving his notes in post.
And who do you play in it?
I play the father of this jock, this kid who's really a good kid, but gets kind of like involved with his good friend who is not as talented as he is and doesn't win a scholarship, and so he drags my son into this life, this dark life, and his friend's son's father, who's in jail, is played by Chaz Palminteri.
Oh, amazing!
And Chaz wanted my character when they were younger. He wanted my character to work with him, and he refused because he wanted he didn't want to be part of that life.
That's so interesting. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's
Now,
some
let me
very
ask you,
powerful
so
moments in there.
obviously, an actor like yourself, you hear your friend Chaz Palminteri's in it, you trust him or he trusts you. So like he's in
Yes.
it, I'm in it, he's in it. I'll do it because I know you obviously read the script, you like the script. Now, my son's movie Into the Black, it's these young guys, which is, I mean, listen, my
Yeah.
friend said to me recently, try to work with the young directors because there's, sometimes these older directors price themselves out of the ball game, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
they can't work because they're charging so much. But these young directors got this Anthony Curry
Andy Curry,
directing.
Anthony Curry's great. Yeah.
Great. My
Yeah,
son producing, he's in it.
Yeah.
So, but when you read that script, Into the Black, which will be out next year,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on that? Or how did you
I
decide?
thought it was hilarious. I was laughing my ass off. I was
Hilarious.
really. I mean, and then I said, the script is great. And then they send me a clip of you on the porch. Oh my God. I said, that's it. I mean, she's in it.
Playing the Jersey girl.
Siobhan Hogan.
Yeah, come on.
That's it. I'm
Listen,
in.
my husband dragged me to New Jersey. And when my sisters always say from upstate, you can't leave New Jersey, Siobhan. There's too many characters there. They're like, shut up. Who do you think you are with the nails? Point. But my gosh, we had fun down at the Mammoth Racetrack that day.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That was really cool. I think that he's got a wonderful eye, Anthony.
Yes.
This director, I think, he's young, he's hungry, and he's got good ideas as well, which I liked.
And
we had a mutual friend, Peter
Green. Yeah.
I've done so many films with Peter Green.
Well, you gave my son Peter,
Yeah.
who's fearless, because he grew up in the business. So I always say, he's like, how did your son get those actors? I said, well, it's like being at a donut shop. Like
Exactly,
you make good
yeah.
donuts. So Peter's like, well, I'm going to get Peter Green. And he slept outside of his apartment and basically kidnapped him and shoved him in the car.
I know Peter, is a very interesting character.
He's fabulous.
He's an
so
amazing actor,
funny.
a totally in the moment actor.
Completely.
Just like there was certain things that happened that day on the set and it's like, wait a minute, was he supposed to take the horse out?
Oh, well,
that was amazing.
When I first saw Peter Green in Pulp Fiction, I was like, this guy's insanely great.
Absolutely.
And plus the look,
Yep.
That's the thing. Like God gives you gifts, right? You've got so many gifts. You're a great artist. You're a great actor. Then you say to yourself, well, what if I didn't look like this? I mean, you got a great look.
Oh, thanks.
You know what I mean? And Peter Green's got that face.
He's got that, yeah.
And like even like your painting, like sometimes your face is a gift.
Yeah.
I remember being at Catholic U, and I'd gone to little college Lemoyne, and I basically at Lemoyne I could get any part, and I didn't know I was weird looking till I went to. It's true. I went to Catholic U, and this big director, Bill Waring, his name was big heavy guy. He said, now Siobhan, he's in those days you could smoke in class. He's like, now Siobhan, of course you're a character actress, and I was like, what? And then being, they always say, like, it's great to be from a big family. And I literally shared this story. And, everybody would listen on the other end of the phone. My sister Megan is much younger. And she goes, well, Siobhan, sometimes when you sing high notes, like as if I sang a lot of high notes, I never could get parts of music because my voice was terrible. She said, you have a lot of chins. And I was like, what? I remember taking a mirror and I was like, huh? I do have a lot of chins. But I thought I was a character actress. But you realize that's a gift.
Yeah,
your face.
Is. In our business,
because you've got your look goes with who you are. Like if you can't be, even your voice, you've so many gifts, and then the art, it's like, don't you just at the end of the day, aren't you like, thank you, God?
Nah, not really. I'm just, you never look at yourself that way. It's, I don't know.
But you're very blessed.
Well, thank you.
With all your gifts, your talents.
I guess I have to thank the gene pool. My parents. I mean, they were both really. I mean, my mother was, a great appreciator of art, but she had artists on her side of the family as well. My uncle in Bari, that's where my mother's side was from.
Where is that in Italy? Is that the bottom?
That's on the Adriatic side.
Okay.
Bari is on that. Yeah. So, he was a cabinet maker. I mean, he was an artist in his own right. And then I have cousins from that side of the family as well that are artists. So, the gene pool is, I guess, strong on both sides. And so I have to thank them for it,
What about the food?
Food was unbelievable. My mother, forget it. My mother was just, people never forgot when they would, come to a meal, when we were on 21st Avenue in Patterson growing up. They never forgot the meal. It was so delicious, really.
Federico, I am saying because I can't even imagine, but I also feel so sorry for my kids because I'm literally the worst cook. And one time this kid Kyle Bussey. He was good friends with my daughter Shane. He's like, Mrs. Hogan, could you please tell my mother your macaroni and cheese recipe? I said, sure. You ready? You boil the water, put the macaroni in. You get you peel the plastic off the Kraft cheese, and you mix it in. Do you have any salt? You put that on there too. But I can't imagine.
Oh my God.
And it's so. My sister married an Italian, and Sundays when the sauce starts,
Oh my
and
God.
just the
Yeah, it's
tradition
so
is
good.
just
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's I miss those days.
Oh, I
really
bet.
do. You know,
Is
fortunately we
Yvonne
lost.
a good cook?
Yes, she's amazing. She's incredible. She can pull something together that you have a few items in the fridge or whatever. She can put something together and it tastes amazing.
That's so
You know?
great. My poor husband. He really got robbed. I remember the first meal I
That's
made.
too funny, man.
We were in New York City. We just got married, and my sister said, she literally wrote on a recipe card. It said, Confucius say, she who cooks makes husband come home. I don't think Confucius said that. She was trying to be funny. So I made this chicken, and I made Brussels sprouts. Why would I make that? And he took one bite of the chicken. He's from New York, and he said, he dropped the fork, and he said, this is kind of dry. Would you mind if we ordered out? And I said, not at all. Not at all. But so now you've been doing a lot of when this particular
Yes.
piece is going to go in
Part of a series.
A
It's
series.
part of a series. Right now I'm at about 10 works, and I'd like to have like 12 to 15 pieces.
And who do you
and I-
pick? Who are your subjects that you look for?
Just people that I've known over the years, certain people that just to me have an interesting face. I might be calling you one day.
Can you imagine? You'll need a lot of extra. I don't know. You need
Stop it.
extra
Come
red
on.
and a lot of what are these?
You are
what color is
adorable.
that?
Come on,
Off
stop
white.
it.
I said I was looking with my daughter for a junior prom dress, my youngest daughter. I said, "Excuse me, I've lost my looks. Have you seen them?" The lady's like, "Please get away from me." My daughter's like, "Stop joking. This is serious. We have to find a prom dress." Actually, my son Peter's getting married in the spring, and his
That's right. I just found out.
Yeah,
Congrats.
he's
That's
getting married,
awesome.
and his
Such a good kid. Really talented actor.
thank
too.
you, thank
Very
you. Yeah.
talented actor.
But
Peters.
his fiance, her mother, Michelle, she's so stunning. You're gonna have to get a look at her. She looks like Marlene Dietrich. And my sister said to me, "What are you going to wear at the wedding?" I said, "It really doesn't matter. I could wear a potato sack because this woman is so stunning. No one's going to be looking anywhere else except for the bride, who's stunning, and her mother. But whatever But I digress. But anyway, so Federico, what's
Yes.
any more roles coming up?
Yes, actually, I just got booked on a film called Lupo,
Oh,
and they were interested in two different roles for me, and we zeroed in on this one role that is pretty interesting, heavy character.
and where
you
are they
know.
going to shoot that?
They're shooting it in New Jersey, on location in Jersey.
So much is happening
Yeah,
in New Jersey
yeah,
because of the tax break, and we're so lucky, right?
yeah.
I mean,
know.
it's like
I know.
Hollywood's coming to us.
Yep,
It's amazing.
that's true.
And I'm actually going to Italy to do a movie.
Come on.
Yes.
Really, where?
I'm going to say it all wrong because it's bad enough with my circuit.
I'll
I'm going to
help
say
you.
Lake Maggiore. I'm sure that's wrong.
Maggiore.
Lake Maggiore. I'm like
Lago?
Lake Mayonnaise.
This is the way. Listen, Lago Maggiore.
Lago Maggiore.
Perfect.
And then Turin. So
Oh, really?
Yes.
Torino.
Torino.
Yes, Turin. Yep.
Yeah, I
That's-
cannot wait.
That's where my painting was. It was in a beautiful museum right in front of the Alps. Actually, it was called Castello di Miradolo, and
Really?
that's the museum that the exhibition was in on Saint Sebastian.
Really?
Yeah, that was
So
really
now,
cool.
where in your family, do you still have family? Do they come up and come to your expo?
Oh yeah, yeah. My family's always been very close. They've always supported. That's the one thing that I really have to thank my parents and my family about. That's they never said anything negative about what I wanted to do.
Because most people tell their kids not to go in the arts.
Exactly.
They'll say, do it
Yeah.
on the side, do it on the side.
But they saw that when I was in grammar school, I was selling my artwork. I was already sort of
So great.
entrepreneurial a little bit. With I was doing jackets.
Yeah.
back of denim jackets.
Oh,
And I was either bartering or getting paid for
so
them.
it's not like it was clear that this was the path.
Oh, it was very clear. I mean,
Yeah.
it's from when I was a very young kid.
I will say my father was so funny and so supportive, but I think there was worry in there that like, Siobhan, you sure you should be doing this? So he's like, why don't you do they would always say like, do dinner theater, do this, and you can do it on the side. And I was like, Dad, no. So now with my kids, I say, do it.
Mhm.
Follow your passion. Life's short. I
Yeah.
mean, we're about the same age, I'd say. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say if I got hit on the head right now and someone said, how old are you? I'd say, I don't know, 32.
Yep.
It goes in a flash. So
It does. It does. It's
use your
crazy.
gifts.
Yep.
Use your gifts. Do what you love. You were given these gifts for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't hide them under a bushel basket, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Going back to something we were talking about before about people around me, sort of being disappointed that I was getting into acting because they thought I was going to stop painting. And I said, no, don't. I'm not. I'm going to keep painting. And I was illustrating at the time, doing book covers and, magazine articles and stuff like that, and magazine illustrations. And then I stopped doing that because of at the advent of computer graphics.
Oh,
I saw the writing on the wall, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to be doing paintings that I want to do, just and sell them through galleries and stuff like that. But I never told people in the acting world, in the acting side of it, that I was an artist, and vice versa. I stopped it at that point, and then when I started getting booked, it came out, that that I was.
so let me ask you a question. When you're on a film, do you compartmentalize? You like, I'm on this film, so I'm not painting right now, or will you be like on location somewhere and be like, I'm going to bring my artwork, and
Yes.
on my off days, you'll still keep going?
Yeah, sometimes I do that. If I'm away, I shot a film, shot a couple films. Several films actually in Europe. One was called A Decoy Bride. That was shot in Scotland, and I had a lot of time in between, so I wound up, in the trailer doing a self-portrait.
So great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm in the
yeah.
trailer, like getting fatter and fatter. I'm like, what else am I going to do? Huh?
Yeah, so
That's
sometimes
amazing.
I bring some watercolors with me or something. Yeah.
Don't you think one of the greatest amazing perks of our business is where you get to go? It's
Oh
like
yeah,
Scotland.
absolutely.
I'm going to
I-
Guatemala on Friday to do a movie about Stanley Rother, the priest who was killed down there in the 80s. He was
Oh, wow.
martyred.
Really?
Yeah, with this company called Coronation Media. But I just think it's like, I'll never forget years ago. I mean, I think I was like my early 20s, and I heard an interview with Morgan Freeman, and he said, one of the greatest gifts is that you get to go see the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the hugest perks, isn't it? It's like, what am I
Morgan
doing?
Freeman.
Mor-
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, that's a good imitation. Do you do a
Love
lot of
that guy.
imitation?
I used to. I really have to listen to the person
Yeah.
for a little bit and then get into
Yeah.
it.
The only
Yeah.
imitation I really ever could do was Catherine Hepburn. I'd be like, oh, look, the calla lilies are blooming.
Oh, that's
and
so
well, that was about
funny.
it. That was about it.
When my nephew, I was at a museum. I had curated a museum exhibition, and my nephew was really small, and he was running around with because I used to do impressions for them,
Yeah.
cartoon characters.
So great.
So I'm in a serious conversation with one of the directors and stuff, and Stefan comes over to me, he's tugging on my he's there with a couple of friends of his. And he goes, Zio Federico, Zio means uncle. Zio Federico, could you do the Scooby Doo? Could you do the Scooby Doo? I'm like, Scooby Doo? I said, no, later. Okay, later. And so I started laughing. I said, could you imagine, like all of a sudden,
Now I know.
Scooby Doo? Meanwhile, it's like,
That's so funny.
yeah. Oh my God.
I did Shakespeare in the Park. I mean, I'm not proud of this. I am proud that it was Shakespeare in the Park. As You Like It, I was Phoebe, and there was this
Oh,
actor,
cool.
and he was so funny, and he knew that I could do Katharine Hepburn. And he's like, Siobhan, please, 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 put Katharine Hepburn in your monologue. So I was like, I would not fly thee, Sylvius. I would not, because and the director's like, may I talk to you? What were you doing? And I was like, something's wrong with me. But Federico, you are literally unbelievable. I mean, and such an inspiration. And to
Thank you.
have someone like you, have my son meet, and for young people to meet and be
Oh,
like,
man.
you
Yeah.
can take all your gifts and share them with the world, and you're such an inspiration. And
Thank you. I feel the same way about you, though.
yeah,
Huge fan of yours for years, and then we got a chance to work on the same film. But
Yes.
maybe someday we'll
we will.
we'll play tennis together at some point.
Oh, if I can you imagine that? No, but you're a great representation, and your parents did a great job. And God
Thank you.
gave you so many gifts, and God bless you. And thank you so much for being on Catholics with Cappuccino. And I say, let's do a cheers.
Hey, la
God
salute.
bless in all you do, and keep spreading the word and making fabulous paintings.
Thank you so much.
You're the best.
Thank you.
And give my love to Yvonne.
I will.
All right.
Absolutely. La
Salud.
salute.
Is that what they say?
Salute.
Salute. Now you're say slanta. That's usually with a drink.
Buono.
Pretty good. I'm Siobhan Fallon Hogan, and I am honored to be with Federico Castelluccio, and you must follow him on
Real Federico Castelluccio on Instagram and FedericoCastelluccioPaintings.com.
And you can always follow us on at Catholics with Cappuccino on all social medias. And I'm Siobhan Fallon Hogan, and this is the famous, the fabulous, the talented Federico Castelluccio.
Grazie mille.
Grazie. Hi, my name is Siobhan Fallon Hogan, and I've been an actress for 555 years. What do you call these people that do this? Podcasters?
Podcasters. You're a podcaster.
She finally made it. Catholics and Cappuccinos is a conversational piece between myself and fabulous other Catholics and non-Catholics who are friends of Catholics.
And it's a wonderful opportunity to share the faith and all the things that you can learn from meeting our hungry and homeless friends.
Yes.
And all the things one can learn from volunteering.
Is your husband Catholic?
Is the Pope from Chicago?
What I would like people to take away from this show when they watch is the joy of Catholics and the gifts of Catholics, of all the different people that are going to be on. Jonathan Rumi.
What do I do? And I looked up, and all I could see was the crucifix hanging above my kitchen. And so I just literally dropped to my knees.
Kevin James.
Because it is every day. It's all about sacrifice, and it's about, you're going to fall, but it's about getting up.
Yes, exactly, and having hope. What better way to talk to somebody than with a cup of cappuccino and talking about Catholicism?
Catholics and Cappuccinos,